The great JobKeeper stuff-up, Kieran. There are fingers being pointed within government at the Treasury Secretary Steven Kennedy and his troops after Treasury massively overestimated the cost and application of the JobKeeper scheme, out by $60 billion, as you said, and 3 million workers. The mistake has embarrassed the PM and Treasurer, who are out there spruiking we have 6 million workers on the scheme several times, only to find out we have 3.5 million. But Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has decided there will be no scapegoats in this. Ironic, since we had government ministers calling for Joel Fitzgibbon's shadow ministerial scalp on Friday for suggesting we should go easier on China. Let's have a listen to Scott Morrison just last week boast about the 6 million workers on this scheme.
I mean, 6 million Australians have been supported at their worst moment. Granted, there will be issues that are raised at the margin on a program of this scale, but let's not lose sight of the forest for the trees here. I mean, this is a program of historic proportions that is helping 6 million Australians right here, right now.
The fact we have 3.5 million on JobKeeper and 1 million have been forced onto JobSeeker or the dole during this crisis potentially also means the government should have applied the JobKeeper scheme wider, not only for the good of the country, but in the end for the good of its own political fortunes. Unemployment is a government killer. There's been a lot of talk by Labor about casuals and art and entertainment workers and university workers, but also key on not having more on JobKeeper is the requirement the government put on that employees of businesses with less than $1 billion turnover gained access to it with a 30% loss of turnover, but businesses with more than $1 billion turnover, not profit, had to show a whopping 50% drop in turnover. It created two classes of stood-down worker. There are 2 million workers who work for those bigger businesses in this country, and the employers, when shut down by the government and told they were likely shut down for 6 months, were always unlikely to hang on to the workers out of the good of their hearts. It was Treasury who advised the 50% test for big business, but the politicians did not push back against it. So tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of workers for big business have been forced onto the dole rather than remaining tied to their employers through JobKeeper. Every day, the Tax Office and Treasury had provided daily updates to ministers on the number on JobKeeper. At first, the ministers thought the program was undersubscribed from the 6 million estimate. Then there were large spikes in the updates. We know now that's because of a Tax Office stuff-up we were told about Friday. And Treasury, they didn't question it because they'd always estimated 6 million workers anyway. The government will attempt to put about that Labor got 3 budget deficits wrong in government to the tune of $70 billion, but it does not match this mistake. The PM has been described as very disappointed about this error to me. Under consideration for the government now will be an extension of assistance for certain sectors like tourism after the JobKeeper finishes off in September. They also want to end the situation out of the review into JobKeeper at the moment where a worker, usually young people, are being paid more than they were previously. There will be no extra money, though, for casuals or university workers, I'm told, what Labor's demanding in terms of the extension of the scheme, Kieran.